Welcome guys, SuperNovaDragon here, presenting a very unique video, which is going to be very touchy on a lot of people's feelings. I mean, a lot of people. It might even creep some people out, depending on who you are, and even give me hate, because I have to talk about it. And I always love it when you guys hate me as well, because either way, it doesn't really matter. So, let me keep things simple. This 3-part video series, and yes, it will be in 3 parts, is about furries. And stuff related to furries. Yeah, very touchy, isn't it? Especially considering the norms. Now, I'm going to make a disclaimer right off the bat. I am a Christian. I am not supposed to support specific things. I am not supposed to. I'm not supposed to encourage it, to be precise. Which I don't. However, I'm also raised to act a certain way, and of course, in this certain way, it of course kinda conflicts with people's stereotypical things of Christians. So anyway, let's just begin. So, what the hell is a furry? Obviously, you're gonna start off with that question if you don't know what the hell they are. So, furries are humans, and note I said humans. They don't think they're animals. That is a misconception I'm going to mention right off the bat. Who either like anthropomorphic animals or into the sexual side of the into the sexual fetish side of the said anthropomorphic animals. Now, I'm going to mention right off the bat another misconception. The fact that everybody's into that side of the fetish. No. That is like a terrible thing. Many furries are not into that side. Not into the sexual fetish side. In fact, many are more interested in the community gatherings, social meetings. Also, to summarize it, pretty much Anthrocon, which is their biggest thing. The roleplay aspect, which every fandom has. Or the art side of the community. And then here comes another misconception right off the bat that everybody assumes. The fact that anybody who has a fursona, or B, draws furry art, mainly those two because those are pretty much interchangeable, is a furry themselves. This is not true. Not everyone is a furry. There are a few who are not furries that run, of course, fursonas. So anyone who has, and also anyone who also stands up for fandom. I mean, that is true. Now, the next misconception that many people have is the fact that the furries are homosexual. Now, I'll be referring to the term homosexual a lot because gay is a very touchy subject because gay does not include lesbians, sadly. So, and also, on top of that, gay also has 2 meanings, and of course, is used commonly. And of course, homosexual is probably the most polite way to keep it simple. So, let's begin. So, according to adjectivespecies.com, and of course, the furry poll in 2013, approximately 22% of furries are homosexual, compared to 29% from IARP, which they did compare. However, it is outdated by 5 years, so this information isn't truly correct. However, due to there being a huge amount of males over female, in fact, according to the very same sites, 28% of furries going to cons are actually female. And note, this is all based off of cons, because otherwise my information would probably be very incorrect. Or of furries, so 20% of furries going to cons are actually females, over 15% according to the IARP, and of course this could be due to gender harassment, which of course does happen. It does happen. Don't know why it happens, despite it of course being in the year 2013. However, recent information here. According to an infographic by YouTuber Charleston Rat, not really, of course, again, infographics are not the best source of information, but it's more recent, so I'm going to rely on it. Approximately 20, and as actually should be, to be more specific about recent, it's about a year old, so it's not that old. approximately 24% of furries are gay. Now, I don't like saying that word again. It's not the right term. And also there's and if you notice there's a complete 2% difference there between 2013 and 2017. However, LGBTQ plays a huge part is a huge part of the fandom. I mean, literally 77%. That's a huge amount. And with the original article, I'm going to keep in mind, they also did keep in fact that over the years, the more you spend in the fandom, the more you open up. Which makes sense, because the furry fandom is very accepting. Very. However, sadly, this does allow toxic people to enter the furry fandom kind of really easily, and kind of cause, maybe ruin it for people, or give the public general misconceptions about the fandom. So, another thing is the fact that everyone has a fursuit. No, that's not true. Not everyone has a fursuit. Much less been to Anthrocon, as it's Anthrocon, which is what they call their furry cons, for the most part. There's probably different things that they call their cons as well. Most of the people are probably as poor as me, or poor, like me, to buy a fursuit, or not even wanting to go to said cons, let alone afford one. Yeah. Though mainly these furs prefer the online aspect of the fandom that is in the form of Fur Affinity and many other furry-related sites. Now, this is definitely confirmed, and yes, I have to make a pun. I love making puns. That's my job here. That's the joking part of my job here. I need to make a pun every so often. By many popular furry YouTubers such as Majira Strawberry. Literally 20... I mean, how can you have 200k subscribers while being a furry? Literally, probably one of the more successful ones. Odin Wolf. And probably my personal favorite. And pretty much one of my biggest sources of information. Especially for the next video. Beta Edda Delota. Now, these pop furs are pretty popular. And probably good people for the furry cause. Now, note, again, some of them have, like I mentioned before, some of them may act a certain way. And of course, I might technically not approve of it, but I can still support the person. That is still possible. Sadly. Sadly to some people. If they don't understand that. If they don't. So, what is a pop fur? Of course, they're obviously a popular furry. Making sense. So, the age of furries vary. According to some, being the age of 12 to 16 being like the good range for kids. Kids, also known as young furs in the community. Whereas the rest of the fandom and the adults is most likely from 18 to 30 is a best guess. With, of course, a middle age being, of course, 19 for some weird reason. Don't know why. According to the same infographic. And here's another big no on a misconception about. No. Most of them are not autistic. That's enough to really piss me off. Right there. It's the biggest misconception ever. I literally know, in real life, autistic people. I know how they act. Comparing a furry to an autistic person is just an insult to them. Literally, it's probably a big insult. So, how does one become furry? Well, it's kind of simple, though I'll explain the stages of a furry in my next video. Make sure you check that out. They discover that they like anthropomorphic animals, and the fact that the community is very accepting, like I mentioned before. However, there are multiple sources of finding anthropomorphic animals. I'm going to start off with a list of games, and then from there go on from movies to TV shows to anime even. Yes, and even cartoons, because, yeah, cartoons do count as well. Now, I'm going to mention first things first. Some of these games, movies, TV shows, and, of course, animes and cartoons do have a difference of of certain things. Some of them are more suggestive to the theme, whereas the others aren't. So here we go. I'm going to start listing off the thing. Sonic the Hedgehog, probably one of the biggest furry games. Super Mario Bros. Again, this is one of those good examples of not too many. In this case, it's just Bowser and his son. Yes, they do count. They're literally giant turtles who can talk. Though it depends on which Mario game you're playing. Sly Cooper. Spyro the Dragon. Completely filled with it. Yes, a timeless classic is completely filled with anthropomorphic animals. Pokemon. Probably one of the biggest ones. Now, I'm going to mention both aspects since I'm listing everything here instead of just taking my time. So first off, they have humanoid-shaped Pokemon such as Blaziken, Lucario, Delphox, what else? Pegnite, if you want to count that, Infernroar, Greninja, if you want to count that. Literally, they have a good amount of pretty much human standing like Pokemon. Then I'm gonna mention the fact that on the cartoon side of it, they're literally saying their names in English, literally. And if you want to go even further, Meowth, the biggest example of a anthropomorphic animal, literally talks throughout the thing. And now, if you were wondering what Meowth, I'm meaning the Meowth from Team Rocket, obviously. I mean, what Meowth am I talking about? So, Zootopia. That's a big furry movie right there. Probably the biggest. Don't judge anyone based off the movies they watch, as a heads up. The Dragon Ball franchise. I have to say this, but literally, dog is mayor. A cat, literally multiple other animals, like Beerus. Beerus is a cat. So is his brother Champa. Literally, they're both gods of destruction. Quintella of Universe... crap. Now, here's where... See, it's been a while since I've watched Super. But anyway, Quintella, one of the other universe's gods of destruction, is also a furry. To be more precise, a rat furry. Family Guy. Again, very limited case. Brian, of course. Brian the dog. But then, which kind of makes sense. And then finally, literally every Disney product that focuses on anthropomorphic animals like Mickey Mouse, Bambi, Little Mermaid. Fishes do count as animals, sadly. And many, many more. Seriously, let's go on and on. Like, big time. And of course, like I mentioned before, more are closer to the fandom than others are. Like I said, Sonic being one of the big games that is literally close to the fandom compared to something like Super Mario or Super Smash Bros. I mean, that does have furries in it, but it's not about story or anything. It's just about beating each other up, literally. Which means you can literally be in the norm with this stuff. Now, once you start taking a liking to the anthropomorphic animals, you're obviously going... Really, background noise. See, this is why I needed my own recording studio. Anyway, I'm gonna quickly finish this up then. Once you start taking a liking to the anthropomorphic animals, you start to look for others who share that liking with you. And then you find the furry fandom. Literally, you'll find the furry fandom once you do. From there, you literally have 4 choices. Join the fandom if you like what the fandom has to offer. Hate the fandom with all you got because you don't like what some of the toxic members of the fandom does do. You could support them without being one, or you can shun them like a normal person does. With that taken care of, that pretty much ends what is a furry. If you're really curious about if you are a furry, please check out my second video, which is really based off Beta Eta Delota's 7 levels of being a furry, and both videos that he added. And, of course, I'm going to be relying on that a lot, because that's, again, like I said, it's probably my biggest source of information. And then, finally, after that, I will be doing my rant. My big rant, finally. Anyway, guys, this is SuperNovaDragon, and I will see you guys later.